Mic check, mic check. Thank you for joining the third episode of the Front Kick Fantasy Podcast. I am your host, Luke Jordan. Best friend right beside me, Nate Neal. What's going on?
Let's go. I am
Man,
hyped for this, man.
happy Friday. We got the weekend coming up. We got the third episode. And boy, do we have some news for you guys. Some trending stories right now in the MMA community. Let's get after it. Yeah, you guys know we got that guest speaker at the end of our show today as well.
Yes, we do.
Hope you guys are excited about that. But
So hyped. And he is too. He is too. He's going to bring that exact energy that we want and that we need on this
absolutely,
podcast.
yeah. And no better person to bring the energy than Hunter Niebergall. He's you guys just wait. If you guys don't know him, you soon will. So let's roll into it, Nate. The first segment today we're going to be talking about is a guy that we've been familiar with for a few years now. It's Bo Nickal. We're going to be talking about him in the middleweight division. What he is going to be doing in the Contender Series here in a few weeks, and what his stance is in the middleweight division. So, what do you got for us?
We've seen him in what was it? Was it the PFL or
No, it was Contender Series.
no? Well, besides the Contender Series, we've seen him in Contender Series.
No, it wasn't PFL. I think it was just I don't know what.
We saw him there, and we saw him at the other company. But what you guys don't know is that me and this man, Luke, all right, we have been watching him for a long time, not fighting, but wrestling. Okay, we have seen him in his full capacity, full momentum. Okay, straight up, Bo Nickal in a wrestling singlet, wrestling for Penn State. And we knew this man was going to be an animal before we even knew it. All right. Once you get that guy, and apparently he's already doing well enough. I thought his striking was pretty decent in the Contender Series. But, when you teach a wrestler how to punch, it's a deadly combination.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you teach a wrestler a submission or two, it definitely gets dangerous for those that are going to be standing on the other side of the octagon as him.
In the ground.
And that's the thing, man. Is like this is one of so there's been a lot of up and coming prospects here in the past few years. This is the most exciting prospect I've ever seen personally because, like you said, we were watching those bouts against Miles Martin in the national championship. We were watching all of. I mean, I went up and watched him wrestle at the Bryce Jordan Center. He is electric, and he was electric in wrestling, and I know he's going to bring that same momentum to the octagon. Once
he's ready to go, he is ready to go. Right, and sign him that damn contract.
Absolutely,
give him the contract, sign it personally, Dana. That's it.
I understand though why he didn't get it the first fight, and
right.
I think Dana. Honestly, I think it was a smart move on Dana's part because it promotes the Contender Series. They're going to want to see such a up and comer in Bo Nickal as himself, and I think that's going to get a lot more eyes on the Contender Series. And even once Bo Nickal does get that contract, if he gets the contract, right? I mean, obviously everybody knows he's going to get it. But I don't know. We'll see. I think that will be a good production or a good promotion for the Contender Series to come in the near future. So, but what do you think about him? So say he wins. He wins in spectacular fashion here next month in the Contender Series. What do you see him being a prospect in the middleweight division, and if so, how soon?
I honestly, I'd say it's like right as he gets in. I mean, I feel like they won't necessarily match him up with a ranked fighter right out of the gate. I'd say he'd have 2 or 3 fights, just like most fighters, right? And if they, win those, and then it's kind of like, okay, well, you might get a chance on the main card at fight night, and then you end up being the damn main event on fight night, and then just like that, you've got a title fight. So, I think with his momentum, he's going to go in just blasting. I say he is a contender. Now, like I said, I feel like he needs a few fights underneath his belt before he truly starts fighting, higher guys. And I know that we're hyping him up, but some people just don't realize that. And I know people have been giving Izzy a lot of crap, but I mean, the middleweight division is not easy. Being at the top of any weight class is not easy. People might have bad fights, but they'll damn sure beat your ass, a regular person's ass every damn night, any time.
Yeah.
So
No, absolutely.
yeah,
And the guy that he's facing on the Contender Series too he's no slouch. He fought a guy, I believe he was a Texas boy. I can't remember his name whenever they fought earlier on this month in the Contender Series. But next month he has Donovan Beard. I believe he's 7-1 right now professionally. And let me see, he fought in the CFFC, and he holds the title right now for ESPN. So I think that, I mean, obviously they're not giving him a slouch. They're going to make him work for it. But I think that if he gets this win, like you said, maybe 2 or 3 unranked opponents. But that's what's missing in the middleweight division. Look at the contenders and look at the current champion out on top of the pedestal right now in the middleweight division. His defensive wrestling, his takedown defense is phenomenal. And Israel Adesanya's takedown defense is phenomenal. But I don't think that he's faced somebody like Bo Nickal that knows how to wrestle and it can wrestle at that level of.
correct.
I mean, you got to think, dude. These arenas right now are selling out 18, 19,000 tops. They're usually about 11, 12 on fight nights. You put him in there in a middleweight title match, right?
Yeah.
Does that even hold a candle to the NCAA championships at Madison Square Garden? Whenever or wherever, or I can't remember where that fight was, but he is sold out arenas. He's won a national title in front of sold out arenas. What's the difference here? You know what I mean? I mean, he's going
Right.
to.
He said that in his Contender Series preview. He's used to this type of crowd. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
And
So
it's honestly, I feel like it's more of a step out of his comfort zone fighting in front of no one. He fights at the Contender Series. He's got both coaches, obviously the staff there at the Apex, and then maybe a few Trinklers, family friends of him, and then the opposing fighter. I feel like it's not going to bother him when he gets in there with somebody in front of a sold out arena. I do think that he's going to be he's going to be very what's the word I'm looking for? He's going to be able to sell pay-per-views. That's where I'm getting at, and I think that he'll have no problem with that. But up until then, like we saw last weekend, anything can happen, right? Donovan Beard, not discrediting him at all, but at the same time, Bo Nickal's going to be a problem in this middleweight division. I'm 100% confident when I say that. And anytime that his money line's going to pop up on my DraftKings, I'm going to take it.
right. I'd say, like I said, 2-3 fights, he'll be in the top 15. I'm very confident about that.
And I don't know if you saw or not, but I believe he was a minus 3,000 against his last fight, and he said that he thought he was disrespected about that. He said that shouldn't have been that. It should have at least been minus 10,000 because he really did. He said that I feel disrespected by a minus 3,000 money line. Can you remember the last time that
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Obviously, you've got Hamzat and Nate. That's a huge. I believe it's something like 17-1 or something like that. Floating around. I mean, he's like minus 1,000 in that range. But he was disrespected by minus 3,000. I mean, this guy's got some mentality, and I think that he's going to be a problem in the middleweight division.
I agree.
You want to go ahead and transfer us over to our next segment here on the Full Send Fantasy Podcast?
Yeah, let's talk about fighters bringing their kids to fights. Okay. Now, I understand you want to bring family along to fight. That's great. But what if you lose? Like, how do you think that has an effect on a child's psychology of or their head, just seeing their mom or dad getting their ass kicked? What do you think
I
that
mean, the
what do you
highs
think
are
goes through their
good,
head?
right? The highs are good. You've got so put yourself in the children's stand and their point of view. You've got your dad, right? Or your mom. I mean, I'm not gonna discredit the female division, but mostly we see the father's kids coming. You've got your dad. I'm just gonna say you have your dad and he is in there against another killer in an octagon. Nobody can help him. And I mean, me looking up to my dad when I was growing up, I looked at him as my hero. I looked at him as my Superman. He was the
As
one.
most young guys would, yeah.
Absolutely. And then for something like that to happen is just demoralizing to a child. And we saw that this past weekend. I don't know if you got to catch the video of Kamaru Usman's daughter sitting there front row watching that happen
Devastated.
to her
Look
to
that
her
lady.
dad. It's definitely sad, and I mean, I'm all for it. My dad didn't miss a wrestling match when I was a kid, and whenever I'm older enough and I have kids, I'm not gonna have them. I'm not gonna miss a single sporting event that they do. I don't care what they do. I'm their father, and I'm gonna be there for them. And I expect the families to do that as well, the parents or the children. But this is just a sport, man, where I don't know if I agree with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, MMA, like I said, it's not necessarily a sport. You don't play MMA. You know what I mean? So in most, if you were to ask like a regular person, they'd think it's like gladiatorial or something. It's like going out there and watching somebody fighting for their life. And yeah, that might be a little bit dramatic, right? Because as of right now, UFC has had no deaths in the octagon. But at the same time, when a kid sees that, I really don't know. I mean, I would, if I personally was a fighter, I would say that, yeah, I would bring if I had a kid too. I don't, by the way. But if
Not
I
that we know
did,
of. Not that we know of.
right, yeah, my little brother, yes. So if so, yeah, in this circumstance, uh, if I were to bring a little kid, such as my kid or my younger brother, it, it's a it's I would, but at the same time, and Usman didn't even know. Okay, Usman really, I guarantee you saw it in the fight. He thought this was gonna be a pushover.
Mhm.
I mean, really. Um, and so a lot of fighters, when they feel this way, I feel like they'd be like, "Oh yeah, let's bring the whole family tree out," But I don't know. That's not in my head. But
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think in all honesty, and we're gonna cut this segment a little short because we do want Hunter Niebergall to get the fame and the airtime that he does deserve. But just to sum it up, I think this would be a good time. You call the babysitter and you say, "Hey, watch the kids tonight. Watch the kids tonight because Daddy's got to go to work or Mom's got to go to work." So I think this would be a little babysitter night. What do you think?
yeah, call up the babysitter. Give him a few $100, especially because you're making that cash. And yeah, in that case, I would have. But Usman probably, he thought that he was gonna win that, so he
I mean,
just
yeah.
went
I mean,
full
I
family
mean,
tree.
honestly,
And his
when you're at that,
brother, by God, that dude's always with him. So.
yeah, yeah, and
Well, Neebs is going to join. It's going to be here in just a second. So, while we're at this tiny little break, we're going to shout out his uncle, who, if you are in the local Cabell area, he owns a towing company, and we're going to go ahead and shout him out. It's Mean Gene Towing, okay? 304-736-4531. Copy that number if you'd like to. Replay this back over, okay? If your girl doesn't know how to drive and she drives in the damn ditch, all right,
yeah,
that's who you call. And
absolutely.
you will, and that's, you get him on, and
No,
he will
yeah,
pull your
absolutely.
ass right out.
He's always been good to me and my family. So, um,
That
yeah,
is
we'd like
his
to get
uncle.
back to the local community and Just show them how much we appreciate them. But
What's going on, Neebs?
What's up? How we doing?
we're doing good. We're doing good today. Oh, so we brought our friend Neebs onto the podcast today to talk a little bit about, personally, I think mine and his favorite division, most exciting division in the UFC, in the lightweight division. So Neebs, tell us a little bit what you want to talk about and what you've been waiting so frantically since the news has dropped. What's going on, man?
Man, the news around Charles Oliveira and Makhachev, the aftermath of that, really keeps me up at night, man. Just watching DC and RC this past week. Shout out to my man DC. But Brett Okamoto is talking about Conor McGregor possibly getting a shot with Charles Oliveira if he wins against Makhachev, which would be a tall challenge. But Conor McGregor could be walking into a title shot in the lightweight division. And that
There was no check, boy.
makes me happy.
I don't think that it's out of question. I think it's definitely in question. Does Conor deserve the title fight? No. But does he deserve that check? Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
But there is no check yet, though.
Yeah.
There's no check yet.
Yeah. But I think that your statement's pretty bold. I think that regardless, I think that McGregor will walk in to the title fight. I think that Oliveira has to win. I think if Islam wins, we don't see Islam and McGregor. Unless there's a backstory with Khabib, I can see that happening, and there is a lot of talk about that. There's definitely a storyline to write there, but I think that Oliveira and McGregor would. I think that it would end a lot. I think it would be a lot better of a fight than Makhachev and McGregor would be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So what else do you think about the lightweight division right now? What are you seeing right now?
Man, I know we've been talking about this for a good bit here before it got announced. Poirier and Michael Chandler. Your boy UFC walking into MSG against tall task Dustin Poirier. It's pretty interesting. I really think Poirier has the advantage. I know a lot of people might say differently.
Did you cut out on us?
But those are two warriors. Can you hear me?
Yeah. No. Yeah, I know that you're not the biggest Michael Chandler fan in the house, but I know that you're that regardless, like you said, coming from a UFC fan standpoint, that's going to be one of the fights that we're all going to be excited about, and I cannot wait for that. But yeah, well, hey, do you want to go into Neebs? I don't know I'm sure that you're acquainted with it since you've watched all the episodes on the podcast, but we're going to switch into a segment real quick. It's going to be our front kick fantasy fights that we would like to see right now around the MMA world. So if you want to spin us out, kick us off on that, then that would be awesome.
I would like to let's stay on the Conor McGregor topic. Let's say we all know everybody's dying to see Conor make that walk one more time. Everybody is dying to see him make that strut into the octagon as soon as possible. If Makhachev wins, I want to see Conor McGregor fight Justin Gaethje. I feel like that would be an absolute fight of the year, absolute banger. Conor and Gaethje standing in the pocket, just throwing bombs. I feel like it would be an amazing fight to bring Conor back and give Justin Gaethje another shot at getting up through the ranks.
I like it. Nate, what do you have for a fantasy fight you're looking forward to, or you're hoping to look forward to?
All right. Well, since we're gonna go ahead and talk about the lightweight division, are you meaning like in McGregor standpoint, or do you mean you just want whatever? So it's not really in the lightweight, but we'll go ahead and roll into this again. I mean, it's kind of given, but I do want to see a Moreno and Figgy fight for. I feel like that is definitely 100% going to happen. So I don't know if you've never if you would consider that to not be a fantasy pick, but the next one that I'm going to have to say is a matchup, and we saw him also last weekend. But it would have to be, if Aljo wins against Dillashaw, I would like to see him and Marab fight.
I don't see it happening, but I would
could-
like to see it as well.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I feel like if he takes away from Dillashaw, which I'm about 50-50 on that. I don't know. Maybe he's catching that Dom Cruz fever, also known as washed. Sorry. And then we'll see.
No, I get that though, and I think that that's a good matchup, even though they are training partners or sparring partners and lifelong best friends.
It's weird, isn't it? It's weird, but like what do you do at that point?
There's only going to be one champ, so
yeah. And
who switches training camps though?
What's good about that is that they both kind of mirror each other well. Their striking's not the best. You saw when Merab was or Marab, whatever, was tasked with a little bit of striking against Aldo. He did convert to his wrestling. And he can't really convert to wrestling against such a dangerous grappler as in Aljamain Sterling, especially whenever he knows the tactics and he knows the technique that Aljamain brings to the canvas there in the octagon. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give my fantasy fight that I want to see, and I'm gonna completely flip the script on you guys.
Let's do it. Do it.
In the light heavyweight division, and I know that Neves is a big fan of this guy as well. Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill is an animal. I love Jamal.
Absolutely.
Hill. Sweet dreams, right? Imagine a fight night. I'd like to see it on a pay-per-view card so they can get those pay-per-view points, but on a fight night main event, Jamal Hill and Jan Blachowicz, two hammers, absolute killers in that octagon, swinging away. You know all they're going to do is swing. And honestly, if that prop comes over under 2.5 rounds, I'm definitely picking the under. One of those guys are going down. Hopefully, Jan Blachowicz. I'm going to be biased. I'm a big Jamal Hill fan. But yeah, I'd love maybe December, January range. Jamal Hill, Jan Blachowicz getting that octagon. It'll be sweet dreams for Jan Blachowicz.
Oh yeah.
What do you guys think about that one?
Absolutely. Jamal Hill, man, he's a killer. He really is a killer. His striking is just out of everyone else's. I just feel like he can get up through the division, and I feel like Jan's a great fight for him. He showed his struggle against the takedown a little bit against Thiago Santos, but he got right back up and started to swing and bang just like he likes to do. So I'd love to see how it plays out. I'm sure Jan would try to resort to his wrestling a little bit, but there's no hiding from sweet dreams. So
Absolutely.
Especially if he fought, if Jan fights like he did against Glover, it's absolutely, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree. Well, with that being said, Mr. Nate, I got to announce the next guest on this podcast. Hunter Niebergall, we loved having you, man. We went ahead and shouted out Mean Jeans as well. What a great family business there in the local tri-state area. No better than Mean Jeans. But Mr. Nate, let's go ahead and pan us into the next visitor on the Front Kick Fantasy Podcast. Let's hear it.
All right. Before I go ahead and start, thank you, Neebs. It's been a pleasure. The next guest for our podcast is going to be Garrett Jordan, Luke's own brother. And like Luke said last time, if you're not local or whatever, you can go ahead and get out of here. But listen, all right, we need everybody. But anyways, Garrett is very experienced in MMA, just like all of us. and he is going to. I think he's going to be a great guest. So.
And obviously my brother, I'm gonna be biased. Great guy. Great viewpoint on the UFC and MMA in general. Will I be surprised if he tries to sanction a fight between Francis Ngannou and Roman Reigns? No, but in the same breath, I'm really excited to get him in here, and I hope he's just excited. I mean, as you guys know, we always ask our nearest and dearest friends what they think about the podcast, what we think,
because we care.
what we think should be on the following episodes, maybe some ideas, topics. And Garrett stopped giving them to me. He said, I ain't giving you a damn thing until you get me on that damn podcast. And I said, that's fair. So you know what, G? We're going to get you on this podcast. We're going to get you in for a good segment. And I'm excited to give it to the fans.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Well, hey, to close it out, Neebs, it's been one hell of an episode. So glad to have you on here. And we're looking to have you back on here in the very near future. Maybe get a big MASH podcast in with all of our friends. And that's what it's all about, man. I mean, we're not looking for fame. We're not looking for anything like that. We're just looking for a couple of young adults here in the UFC fans. Just get on here and talk about what we love. I mean, it's
talk
just
shit.
It's such a fun time, man. So yeah, Neebs, you want to break us down, man? Just hey, it's been one hell of an episode.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure being on here. I know I was dying to get on here as soon as you told me about it. You and Nate are my good buddies, and to get anything on here and help you guys out and talk about the thing we love the most, man.
Thank you so much, Neebs.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, with that being said, everybody, thank you for joining episode 3 of the Front Kick Fantasy Podcast. Been one hell of a podcast, and we can't wait to see you guys back next Tuesday, episode 4. Give us a holler. Thank you, guys. Peace.